So you guys have all worked with Joss Whedon in the past. And
that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
right?
Now it is, yeah.
That's true.
So I'm curious how you see this film in sort of the Whedonverse, how it kind of fits into the other TV shows and films that he's worked in.
Alexis, you have the most history with Joss.
I don't think.
I do.
Oh.
I think you do.
That means I have to talk first.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
I think, essentially Joss loves stories about relationships and about alienation. I think you'll find that in every one of his stories, and he likes females. And this has all of those. And some pretty language, which he's not opposed to either.
And that's actually, I wanted to talk about the Shakespearean influence on Joss's other projects that you guys have worked on. If you have noticed that working on his other screenplays and TV shows, that he sort of has this Shakespearean vibe going on in his other productions.
Well, you certainly talked pretty in Firefly. It was a real pretty, pretty way.
That was real pretty. You talk pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah. Not today, but I mean, you talk pretty.
Damn. Yes, I got some really good stuff to say, certainly in the Avengers, and as did a lot of other people. There's even a Shakespeare in the Park joke in the Avengers. I think you nailed it. There's a love of language.
Yeah.
Shakespeare was not shy about killing somebody off.
And I think ultimately Shakespeare is meant to be watched, not read. So you can appreciate it certainly on the page, but it comes to life in performance, and I think that's where Joss.
That's the theory, anyway.
Yeah, that's the theory. That's certainly where Joss is at. So I think that he's constantly surprising, but this still fits into what I think of as Joss's work. I mean, this strikes me as very quintessentially Joss, even though he didn't write it. But we had been gathering for a while, fooling around with the plays with actors, writers, friends, wives, husbands, just whoever felt like it, and so I had seen his passion for Shakespeare up close for years, so it wasn't a surprise to me that he wanted to do something with that passion. It was just a surprise to me that we all got to do it with him.
So how did you guys approach the language of this film? It's a very stilted delivery of the words, and as actors you usually have a more natural delivery. It's very Shakespearean.
We achieved stilted.
Yeah. But that's I mean that in a good way, because the film has a very falseness to it. It doesn't exist in reality.
That's what we were going for. Yeah, I guess I hope what you're trying to say is that, it takes place, the text clearly takes place in a different time, and uses a kind of form of English that we no longer use.
Right.
And yet, depending on how well we achieved it, we were out to kind of forget about all that and really play it as if it was at my kind of country estate, dealing with situations that kind of felt, for my money, very present and very real. Even, I guess, the thing that Leonato deals with, which is a convention of that time, the dishonoring of his daughter, which certainly could still happen, but to an extent where he's wishing for her death on her marriage altar. For my money, you get into it, and suddenly it doesn't feel so old or stilted at all. It feels very present and real and visceral.
Right. And whatever the convention, I mean, this is a world in which people speak differently, and there are conventions that you have to adjust to, but we have to commit to it and make it real for us, just as Clark has to commit to the Avengers, in which he's corralling a group of serial heroes. They're serial heroes.
They've all killed enough people to be called
They
serial
are constantly
heroes.
heroic over and over and over again. It could be a world in which, a Western alien space movie. It could be vampire. But whatever it is, Joss finds a way of committing himself and everyone in it to that world so that it becomes a real universe. And then I feel that the audience can enter and live there and party with us and laugh with us and cry with us because we're in that world doing it.
What is the preparation like to kind of enter that zone, the Whedonverse, per se?
Just do what Joss says.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, if he gives you
That's
a note,
really true.
it's probably a good note,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
I love when he says, "That was really great," or "You could," and he says it's so simple and real and right.
Yeah, I was just with Amy and we were saying, you do your first take and then he's like, yeah. And we all kind of know, okay, there's something usable there. It's like, worst case scenario, that there's something. And he's like, what about, and he'll say one little thing. Then somebody, that's like somebody turning the lights on in the room. You shoot the scene, something crazy magic happens, and then you see Joss's face as he walks towards the set, and nothing more needs to be said, and he says, okay, moving on. So he has a way of guiding you, holding you, but also setting you free, I feel. For me as an actor, I always feel that I'm sort of safe, but I'm also free to make crazy choices, and if they're terrible choices, he's gonna not let me. He'll fix it, and come up with a better choice, or in that atmosphere of kind of fun but helpful way, something special will come out of you. And I think with this project, everybody's just working their ass off. There was not very much time. Everybody kind of loved doing it and wanted to be there. And, we just couldn't think about it too much, but he could make a little adjustment that would make all the difference.
It seems like it was probably shot in a very short amount of time, and it's just a very intimate space, like shooting in that one location the entire time.
That location that is his house. Yes, that's right.
11 days.
Yeah.
Pretty short.
Yeah.
That's like 3 scenes in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
this whole
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing he said was, guys, all I really need from you is that you know your lines. Just please come to the scene, know your lines. Clark disregarded that completely.
Like he didn't even care.
People don't improvise Shakespeare enough.
He was like, I can do better than knowing my lines.
I'm going to go you one step further, my friend. I'm going to put back in some of the stuff you foolishly cut.
I learned a different play.
Yeah. What people don't often see is just a little time in Athens thrown in here and there between the lines.
There are not enough of the histories in the comedies. It's true. It's true.
At 2, Beatrice.
This is jazz, baby. Shakespeare jazz.
Let's do a little mashup like the kids are doing.
Right.
I am Fortune's fool, Benedict.
So how familiar were you guys with the original text? Had you ever done this on stage before?
Not I.
You hadn't played that role?
No, we'd read it once at Joss's house years ago,
Okay.
and according to him, it had made an impression on where he thought, oh, this is one I could shoot. But I didn't know that until he walked into my house with the script in his hand and said, I'm thinking in a couple of weeks we shoot this at my house. What do you think?
You had 2 days.
And yeah, Clark, talk about serial heroes. Clark stepped in and saved the day. He had 2 days' notice
That's a funny
for
way
like
of
the
putting it.
largest role in the movie. And
No, he has a surprisingly. I remembered him as being the kind of like I had done a production in college that thankfully was not captured on film, and
there isn't an old video cassette somewhere just
no,
shot
what you
from the
can't
back
say about
row.
plays you do in New York because they keep them for the
Yeah.
Lincoln Center Archive. So anyone who would go to the trouble could find some disastrous.
There's nothing so
examples
good as
of
a
my early
play
work.
But it's
just
on beta. No one you
shot
can't
on a video
transfer it to anyone.
camera
Jesus.
in a still frame with the actors this large. That always just brings it to life.
Oh yeah, exactly.